Hi everyone, it's Sam from Art by Sam Badrock, and tonight I'll be drawing a beautiful illustration that I found on Pinterest by Julie Mellan Fox. So let's get started. I'm actually going to draw what I like to call just a little bit of a motion line, which is basically that tonight. Now, this adorable fox actually has like a really large sort of head in this picture, so I'm just going to carve out the head, roughly get it to the shape I want. And you can see as I start to discover what the actual shape is that I want, I'll start to get a bit darker and darker, and then I'll just clean it up a little bit like so. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to just decide, I think I want the line of direction down to there because the frog will be down here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is off this line of direction, I'm splitting the head in half. You can see that there. And now what I'm going to do is just on top of here, at this line here, I'm going to just create the nose and just part of the mouth. So as I start working on this, I'm just going to gradually cut it out. And also note that this side is longer. You can see more on this side than this side. And the reason is that we can see more of this side of the face than this side of the face. So it's good to just keep that in mind. Now off here, I'm going to go like this. And that's kind of like the snout. So now I'm going to just do a line down like that, so then I can get the other eye along that same contouring line there, and it's going to sit about here. So I'll start adding in the eyes there like so, and he's looking downwards, so the pupils are going to be down this way. And then I'll just add in some cute little eyebrows because I'm not doing the amount of shading that Julie Mellan has done on hers. I'm just getting like simple pictures design concepts, so the kids can learn how to draw this picture for tomorrow's art class. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this line out a little bit and I'm going to join it. Just clean that up there. Beautiful. And then, because this is kind of like this, we just want to have a little chin there. And now I'm going to carve the cheeks out because this is a very cheeky fox. So you can still see I'm still using this for the main line, this side of the circle, as part of the main line for the cheeks. And this one, this cheek's going to be like about there, but we're going to see it in a slightly different context because we're seeing this side of the head on a different angle to this side, so it's going to like naturally sort of look different. So I'll just redo that again. So this is going to come from here and up like that, and then it's actually just going to curve there. Okay, so from this side I'm just going to add in some fur. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. Okay. So the ears are going to sit here and here. So I'm just drawing like a little plot for them like that. And now I'm going to chuck in the ears. So I'll just move my page down a bit so you can see. Here we go. Okay, So this side of the ear is going to have like that. And then I'm going to erase all this. Like that. Now on this side, I'm going to have it out like this. So again, it's a slightly different shape. The ears aren't the same shape on the both sides because we're seeing them on different angles. So if we can wrap our head around that, which can be tricky sometimes, that the ears sit on different angles on the head in this picture because the fox's head is slightly turned. So if his face was face onto us, then yes, the ears would look the same. But his face is turned. So that means that his ears are going to be different shapes. They're going to look slightly different when we draw them. Not to say we want one to be like super, super tall and one super, super short, but they are generally slightly different shapes. And we want to remember that when we're drawing, especially when we're not drawing things that are, you know, looking directly at us. Their attention is on something else. Okay. So now we have the start of the fox's head. Oh, we forgot to put some little whiskers. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start doing the arms. So the arms for this one come like here and up. And then this one, it just comes up because it's, again, on a different angle. We're seeing more of this arm and less of this arm. And also this arm is on a slightly different angle. It's coming more sharper up because he is, in the finished product, he's holding a brolly. So we need to remember that he's holding the brolly at two different heights with his little paws. So let's remember that. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck in the first arm. I like to always sort of start off like that. Decide where the wrist is going to be. Doesn't matter if you're drawing an elephant or a fox or a human. Trying to determine roughly where like kind of like a wrist is going to be and make that not necessarily a wrist as per se, but more like this is an anchoring point for what I'm about to do. That's what we're aiming for here. Particularly when you're drawing animals that are animated, we want to, whilst still making sure they look like a fox, sometimes they will behave the way humans do because it's a cartoon, and so we want to acknowledge that we're not drawing something that's realistic. We're drawing something that is essentially behaving like a human. So the limbs, if they are behaving like a human, they will have some human traits. Okay, so now I'm just going to shorten that a little bit. It's not quite making sense there. Okay, so now I'm actually going to bring this out just a little bit. I'm going to go in, just adjust a neck. So it's getting a bit messy up here, so I just want to clean up so you can see. I want to suggest a neck here, going to come down and we're going to meet it like this. And this side, I'm going to erase this section here. I know that this finger here is sitting where the brolly is. So I'm going to start a brolly line. And then I'm going to manipulate the wrist slightly so it's at a width that makes sense to me when I'm drawing this. And now we're going to just start carving in that. So obviously you can't see through a hand. It's good to, so I would erase part of that brolly, but it's good to just, I like to like dump it in because then I have an idea. So now I'm just refining that shape just a little bit so I'm happy with it. I might even make that finger just a little bit longer. Okay, so now I can put that brolly back in there. I'm going to erase part of this here. And I know that you might be thinking, why does she keep drawing things and then erasing them and then drawing over them and erasing them? And it's because I like to draw through my picture. And the reason I like to draw through my picture is because I get to see the shape as a whole, and then I get to look at, well, how does it interact with the rest of the picture or the rest of the objects within the picture. And I think that's really important because then it all just starts to look a little bit more fluid and a little bit less sort of nonsensical making. So now I'm going to put this brolly on here because it's raining in this picture. So I'm going to start with a cone like this. Cone it, cone it. And then what I'm going to do is clean up my page a bit. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to evenly space out these things. And I'm trying to keep in mind spokes of the wheel, so make sure that when I put these lines in, they're sort of on a particular angle. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide how big I want this top of this brolly, and I'm going to make the first intersection. Now I'm thinking, it probably needs to be a whole lot bigger. So I'm just going to play around with it until I'm happy with it. And I might at this stage, and this is the stage that you do it, I might even shorten these sides. I'm just deciding where it makes sense. So I am literally gliding my hand over the page as I do this. I want some nice natural sort of sweepiness about the shape. So I'm going to let my hand naturally just sort of glide across because I want to discover the shape rather than create the shape. I don't want to have a set formality in my mind until I have something in which to anchor that idea from. Okay, so that's all sorted. Let's refine it a little bit more. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, look what I did there. I'm going to fix that up for sure. That sucks. I have to, no wonder that wasn't making sense. That does need to be there, doesn't it? So I'm going to shorten it from this side. that up. I really want it to be more from there. Okay, that's okay. No harm, no foul. And now I'll just do that. Okay. Okay, right. So now I'm just going to check that this is all sort of fairly centered. And I kind of feel like it will need to be shortened one more time. And that's fine. This is part of the process of discovering your picture, and it takes time, and I'm okay with that. So the next thing I'm going to do for the basic shape before we start cutting into it is just chuck in the back there, like that. And now we can start really manipulating this. So I'm going to start with getting a nice midpoint here. All right. Which is where this little stick thing comes through. So I'll create a little like brolly stub, or whatever you want to call it. And then I'm going to start going like this. Just make sure that these pizza shapes are looking good. Okay. Like the spokes of a wheel. And I'm going to go from top to bottom in a swooping motion like this. Because what happens is you start to just, the swoop becomes a bit more seamless. As you go to the other side, we're not doing it from that angle, we're changing the angle. Okay. And then this one, to make sure it's on point with the other ones, I'll just change it up a little bit there. And manipulate it one last time. Okay, so now we sort of have the top of the brolly. We now want to just create little scoops like this at the base. And again, we're going to go in with our eraser and erase those original lines. Clean it up there. And then I'll go over them one more time, going in from each side and meeting in the middle, because otherwise we're going to end up with lopsided like sections. And then I'm going to add in the little, I don't know what these are called. I have no idea, but it's like the rod going through the brolly. So now it's these little details that give the picture just a little bit more character. And now what we're going to do is I'm just going to sort of continue these lines down like this, like that. Now what we're going to do is from here to here, and then from here to here, and then from here to here. I'm going to do the same from here. Okay. I'm not going to be so diligent with the scoopy lines in the back of the brolly, because we don't want that to be too much of a focus. So it's like raising a toddler, you know, you pick your battles. Okay, all right, that's the brolly. So I'm just going to move the picture up a little bit, and we're going to work down here. I might just, there we go. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to do a slight S like this. Okay. The rest of the fox's body is going to go along this S. So we already have this bit here. So we're going to do a nice big sort of pear shape down the bottom, like that. And this is just a guide to start off with. I'm going to lift this side up, which means this side needs to be dropped down if we're creating a motion, which we are. I'm going to lift that up just a little bit more so you can see which lines I'm going to work with. So if we're creating motion, we need to create imbalance in the picture. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I want to sort of derive a foot from this. So we're going to start manipulating the base down here. So you have a foot going in that direction, and this one is going in back in this direction because he's in motion. Yeah. And this is going to go back this way to about there, and this is going to come to there. So now I'll erase what I don't need from there, like so. So now what I'm going to do is from here I'm going to create a boot. So as we know by now in these lessons that clothes sit on the body, so we're doing a scoop around there, and then we're going to just do this. Okay, this foot is going in this direction. Make sure we give it that, and then like that. Okay. All right. Okay, so, and I'll add the extra strap on this side too. Like so. Okay, so we now have our basic shape here. I'm actually going to make him just a little bit pudgier. Really want it to like just be super pudgy. So I'm just thickening up his body a little bit. I'm running the back in line with the back arm like this. And that. He's got a bit of a, if we look in the coloured version, he's got a kind of like white tummy, so that's why I'm doing that. Same with the snout, it's sort of like that. Okay, so the next thing is we need to add in this massive tail that the artist has done here. So we'll add in a bit of a swoosh. Again, just have a really nice loose sort of swooshing action so you can get some natural looking curves so it doesn't look so stiff. And then we're just going to add in our fur lines here, and then every second one I might just bring it down just a little bit longer. Not every line, every second line, like that. So that's the fox done. So now remember we have his line of sight going down to the frog here. Now I'm doing two things here. I want the frog to be sitting in the same plane as the fox, and I want the fox to be in the line of sight. And not only does it make sense for him to be in the line of sight of where the fox is looking and to be on the same level of ground, because if he's on the same level of ground, it helps this motion. If he then if he's then in the line of sight for the fox, you're creating a harmonious picture where you're naturally led from the fox to the frog, to the ground, going up, looking at the feet that are swinging upwards in this direction, and then you're circling back to the fox. So it's a really harmonious picture. It's quite well done. So not only is that all that going to happen, but the edge of the frog's head is actually going to sit on this line as well. So that's that. So I've drawn my little square here, and that line of direction has split inside this square. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating this this frog character. She's done it quite cute actually. So you can see I'm sort of using this box as a guideline. I'm using the base of the mouth and where the eye meets the head, and then I'm cutting that box in half with the actual head shape. So there's a few things going on here, and that's okay. So I'm going to add in the next thing. I'm going to make sure that the eyes are lined up, so I'm just going to do some parallel lines like this. You can see that that eye is slightly out, so I'm going to bring the eye down a little bit like this. Just try and marry it up a little bit. Like that. Clean it up till I'm happy. And this eye, and again we can only see part of the eye because there's more face on this side than this side. And then from here we're going to add in a little cheek like this, and then we can see that this nose is going to come right out right here, and it's going to turn into the smile. I'm going to clean everything up, make sure it all makes sense. Like that. Now this line is going to come down. I'm going to add in the next sort of, I don't know what this artist has done, but that's okay. Trust the process. Like that. I like to give my characters eyebrows. I don't know why. Okay. It's getting there. So now we're just going to add in the body. So the body is going to come out this way. Right, so there's the head there. I'm actually going to bring that down a little bit. And then just to get started, basically, I'm going to, again, create that pear shape. As I start to see how this shape is interacting with the ground and what sort of space we have to leave in, I'm then going to start manipulating the head and the rest of the body, or the rest of the frog, as I see fit. So it really is about playing around, and that's part of the journey. So now that we have a body shape here, I'm going to start adding in the legs. So again, the legs are going to sit on this this guideline here that I've got, along with, see how the edge of the body is also sitting in line with that as well. So you know, those things are important. So the leg essentially is doing this. Hopefully you can still see it. So I'm going to clear out the rest of the lines just so you can see really clearly what I'm doing here. This is how the leg goes. Now we're going to draw around it. So this is part of the leg here. I'll just get a close up of it. Is that better? Okay. All right. So we're going to start with this, and then I'm going to start down here and bring it around like that. Okay, so now that I've got that bit and I know where the middle part is going to be, it's going to be roughly around here. I'm going to bring it in just about there. So I'm going to erase that bit of the guideline there, and now we have what's starting to look like a really cute leg. And this is going to start to come right around to there. So I'm going to cut this up a little bit more. I'm going to bring it right around to there. And now from here, we can just add in this. And then I'm going to go 1. I'm going to do 2 over this side, and then I'm going to bring it out. Okay. So here, we're going to have another arm. So this arm is going like this. So I do the basic direction of what the arm is going. I'm going to erase whatever is in the way. And now I'm going to do limb for limb. So 1, 2, and then 3. So now if I start to erase those guidelines in the middle, I've got something that's fairly well balanced, which is really cool. Okay. There, and then just add in a few lines there, and 1 there. And then down here, we're just going to add in a little bit of a heel. That. Okay, so now let's do this back leg. So it's going to be the same height. So we're just going to do an imaginary line across there. And it's going to be on that same angle. I might actually even do a vanishing point. So I'm going to say the vanishing point instead of the nose, because this line goes into the nose as well. And I'm just going to do this. Okay. And that might help us have a little bit of, I guess, what am I trying to say? Perspective, which is kind of cool. Now remember, we can't see all of the leg, so we don't need to draw all of its features. Again, I'm going to do 1, 2, then I'm going to join them up like that. And then we're going to do the final arm. So I'm going to get rid of all of these guidelines that I've been drawing. Okay, I'm going to get rid of these here too. Okay, so cute. Okay, so we're going to do this final arm. So the final arm is going to sort of come up here. Just erase whatever's in that spot. It's going to go here. And I sort of want it to still be within his line of vision, so that's why I've done that. You can grab a book or a piece of paper to make the line specific, but for the purpose of this exercise today, I am literally just like plopping it like as I see. I've decided that this back arm, whilst it is a back arm, it is going to sit in front of that back leg. So I'm erasing the back leg. Now I'm just going to follow these guidelines and create a froggy arm. And in this particular picture, he is waving. So I'm going to draw the outline for the hand, and I'm going to start just adding in those features. So also have to remember that this artist has also drawn almost like a human like hand, which is bizarre because all the others are paddles, which doesn't make sense to me. So I'm just going to modify it a little bit to suit my personal taste for this picture. And I've just added in more of webbing than fingers, because that is what makes sense to me, like that. And then I'll just add in some boochy cheeks like this. Just make this a little bit smaller there. Like that. And I think I'd also like to turn it into a bit more of a feminine sort of frog. Because why not? Add in like some little lips. That's way more fun. Okay, so that is the picture that we'll be doing. Now obviously we can add in some raindrops, some little splashies, splashy paddles here. Add in another splashy paddle here. And maybe some just another more rain here. And raindrops. Alrighty, I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial, and we'll see you all on Thursday. Bye!